Recently I was looking at some old travel photos of mine, thinking back on good old couchsurfing memories and travel memories. And then it struck me that photos are nice, and you tend to default to taking photos when you're out traveling or when you want to document some life happening or moment. But it struck me that if I, instead of taking all these photos, would have taken short video clips from my travels and then just quickly edited them together when I got home, I actually think that that would have done a better job at documenting that trip or that moment and helping me to remember it as it was. And for that reason, I decided to do an experiment. I decided to document a short trip to the museum that me and my wife made on our wedding anniversary day the other week. Just to see how that would feel and how good that would be in preserving that memory. So before discussing this further, let's just look at this little 2.5 minute video I made, and after that we can discuss how I made it and how you can make one yourself.
Var är vi?
Moderna museet.
Vad äter du?
Kyckling med morot och en linsragu. So I was actually happily surprised by how that video turned out, because I actually think it is a very good preservation of that memory of that short little trip that lasted like 3 hours. And it was surprisingly easy to make this video. I actually think I spent less time and effort than I would have done if I took photos and then went home and edited them in Lightroom and made an album of it. I actually think I spent less time making this video. And what I used was this little camera. I love this little camera. It's not very well known, but it's great. It's called the Sony RX0 Mark II. It's basically like a little GoPro sized camera, but it's so much more capable, and it has a flip screen. Let me turn it on. So you can easily do like selfie shots, and then you can film normally like this. And the camera is just so small and nice, and you can easily keep it in your pocket the whole day. And it can even shoot in log, although I shoot in Cine 2, because the dynamic range of this camera is a little bit too small to shoot in log, I think. Great camera. The only drawback with this camera actually is that once you start recording, when you want to change focus, it kind of jumps around a little bit. So the autofocusing is not that smooth. So basically it's best for shots where you just stand still and film something that is not moving too fast. But it's a great camera, and it's great because it's so small and discreet. So you can really have it with you everywhere, film every moment, and not have people react to you filming something with a big chunky camera. This one is so small it's almost invisible if you hold it like this. And I think that's important. I think it's important to have a camera that is small enough for you to capture everything, every small little moment that you wouldn't have captured otherwise, because it would be so much work to bring up your big clunky camera, and maybe you would be uncomfortable filming in some situations or in some places with a big camera. But with a small camera like this one, or maybe a GoPro or something similar, it's very easy, and you will find yourself filming a lot more than you would with a big camera. So that's tip number one. I think get a very small video camera if you want to capture memories as video. Tip number two is to not overshoot, because then the editing process will be so much more tedious and you will not like it, and you will basically not edit the video afterwards because it's so much work. So what I do is I only film like 5 to 10 seconds at a time. When something interesting happens or memorable or whatever, beautiful, I just bring it up, film for 5 to 10 seconds, sometimes 15, but not that often. And then that's it. I view it almost like taking a photo, but I hold the camera still and film a little bit. And then when I get home, I have this maybe 100 or at least 50 different 5 to 10 second long clips. And since I film such short clips, it's very fast to edit this. I just go through them all. I mark the sections that I like, that are good, and I throw a lot of them away. And I try to end up with like 2 or 3 minutes, or I mean, it depends on how much footage there was from the beginning. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to make a too long video. You should have patience to watch it. And if it's too long, maybe you will lose patience. Another good thing with only filming like 5 to 10 second clips is that it will make the video a lot more interesting. One thing I've learned from YouTube is that to keep the viewer's attention, you should not have scenes or clips that are longer than around 10 seconds, because otherwise people get bored. So that's also will help you. If you don't have any long clips, it will be impossible to make a boring video. And then to top it all off, once you have just cut together the best clips, add a little music. One thing I learned from one of my favorite movies of all time, Amélie from Montmartre, or however you pronounce that, I'm not very good at French, is that one of the things that makes that film so very good is the soundtrack. And it's this like melancholic piano soundtrack. And I once tried adding a track like that to one of my YouTube videos, and I noticed that the whole mood and the feeling in the video lifted so very much. It got so much more emotional and beautiful and nice. So that's like a cheap trick that you can use on pretty much any video. Add a melancholic piano soundtrack to it and it will be so much better. So if you want to get some good soundtracks to your videos, what I use is the service Epidemic Sound. So basically it's like a subscription service. I think it's like $10 or $15 per month. And when you have that subscription, you can publish videos on YouTube with that music. They have a huge library of all kinds of music, and it will be royalty free. And you can even end your subscription as long as you published your video, made your video when you had the subscription. You can use the music for free forever. So that's a great service. So that's like tip number 3. Add a little bit of soundtrack to it. And then you're done. Then you have a beautiful, nice little memory of your day, of your trip or whatever. And the final thing to consider is that you should be able to enjoy this in the future. You should not do the work and then never look at it again, right? A few years from now, you will enjoy it a lot more than you're doing when you're watching it now. Memories tend to become more enjoyable the older they are. How do you make sure that you will be able to watch this video in 10 years or 15 years? And how will you remind yourself to watch it? A method that I use, I don't know that not everyone is comfortable with, is to publish it publicly, like I'm doing right now here in this video. Because then it will be up there on YouTube, it will be easy to find, it will be a low threshold to find it. It will not be tucked away in some hard drive, in some drawer somewhere and forgotten. It will not like go away the day you die. Hopefully it will last longer, I think, if you publish it somewhere publicly. And it will be easier to find it then. So that is what I do. I try to embed my family memories in my YouTube videos, so that way I know that they are much more likely to be there the day my children are like 20 years old and want to look back at some memories. Then they can just find them very easily, and they don't have to go look in some old drawers for some old hard drives trying to find some clips somewhere on that old hard drive. That will not be very likely to happen. So that's a final tip from me, if you're comfortable with sharing your family memories, of course. I know that not everyone is that. And yeah, this video was just me trying to be a little bit inspirational with you all. Another way to approach travel photography is to simply not do travel photography, but instead bring a very small video camera and do some travel videography. And if you like this video, please go support me on Patreon. That is the best way to support my work. And also don't forget to subscribe to my free inspiration newsletter that I publish each month. Go check it out at mwroll.com. Thank you for watching. See you in a few days again. Over and out. Bye bye.